Welcome back, you gearheads. On today's episode, we have hand-picked vehicles, fun vehicles at that, under $20, $15, and $10,000.
So stay tuned to see if our picks match with yours. Like we already mentioned, we have hand-picked vehicles from you and I personally for under $10, $15, and $20,000. So let's start with the cheapest one. What did you pick for under $10,000?
Well, this has actually got a pretty good cult following, but this is talking about the Miata, the MX-5 Miata. We're talking about the third generation.
No surprise for that to end up on the list somewhere.
I think this actually ends up on a lot of people's lists just because of the history behind it. It's not too crazy of a vehicle, but you're still able to get all of the awesome amenities of having like a convertible roof, leather interior, 6-speed manual, just fun little car, very driver centered. But outside of that, I really love the design of that third generation. And for you guys out there, this is the last generation before we have the ones you see that are selling now on dealerships. So you're talking about how it has the widened wheel wells, which I think looks pretty aggressive, especially for a car in that segment. And that's why it's always performed so well from dealerships and just selling on used car lots for the last 30 to 40 years that it's been around.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of an old episode we have where we're talking aftermarket modifications and stuff, this is a vehicle that has a lot to it, and people use it for all kinds of stuff, just everyday driving, cruisers, or weekend projects, or even some people actually auto race a lot with it too because of how balanced it is in terms of handling and stuff.
And the one that I found for you guys out there, I found one. It was up in the Northeast area, selling for a little over $8,000, and it had 65,000 miles or so on it. Still a lot of life left, especially when you're talking about older Mazdas like that were built to last. So solid product.
Yes, for sure.
So what vehicle do you have for us, Jacob?
I went a little bit of a different direction. You picked like the small 2-door convertible, depending what configuration you get. Yeah, I went for a hot hatch actually. So I picked a turbo Veloster for the first generation. So that's about like 2011 and 2017. The newest ones are a little bit more expensive than that, but with these similar miles to what you said, so around 60,000 miles is what most of my picks have for this video.
Right.
But still under $10,000. They're not the quickest cars out there, but they definitely have some pick up and go to it, and it's a little bit more of a fun vehicle to drive for that cheap price point.
Right. Still fun to go get your groceries and
yes, you have the hatch to put groceries in. One of my buddies years ago when we were in college, he had a turbo R-Spec, which is a little bit more above just the regular turbo.
Right.
And that was a really fun car to drive for sure.
Yeah, I think Hyundai definitely did a good job with that. I mean, even if you were someone that bought it initially brand new and still have it, you had up till 100,000 miles for that car to poop out on you. So, I mean, that was very solid of a vehicle, good warranty.
And now
awesome car.
Cheap on the used market. So
yeah.
So then let's bump it up to the $15,000 job.
Woo.
Picking that. He gave you some more money for this part. So what'd you pick?
Ooh, we went a little crazy, and you won't believe me, but you can go out there and find yourself a 996 generation 911. So this is a Porsche 911 between about 2002 is the one I found. And this, I know you're thinking Porsche, there's no way it's got to be damaged or something. No, these cars for some reason on the used market, the way they depreciated, guys, is they had these headlights that really got picked on. And there's a lot of videos out there that a lot of reviewers talking about them, but definitely worth looking at, because between the previous generation and the generation after that, once they started adding turbos and stuff, this was still a really cool car. It's available in a coupe or a cabriolet or convertible. same thing. But outside of that, still an awesome car, available in a manual. I mean, I can't really say too much more about it. I mean, Porsche speaks for themselves.
And you're telling me this one has the doors and the wheels on it?
Yes, this one's not burnt down. It's not stolen. It's not salvaged.
And it's
This
not a
one's
Hot Wheels.
clean Carfax. And actually, it had the one that I found was selling for $14,900, and it had about 65 to 70,000 miles. So clean Carfax and service record. So,
So coming to you in a Josh's driveway near you soon, or?
it had a weird decal on it. It was a white decal. It was pretty cool, but I mean, I don't know about that.
Yeah,
I feel like to insure an older Porsche like that would still be pretty expensive.
Maybe. Only one way to find out. Call.
So what did you have for us, Jacob?
So for my 15,000, I had picked something a little bit more mild than a Porsche 911, but it was a Subaru BRZ or a Scion FRS or a Toyota GT86.
Or no.
Yeah, there's slight differences in all three of them, but for the most part, they're relatively the same vehicle. I had the pleasure of driving one of my friends' FRS a couple years ago. And again, not a whole lot of horsepower in this lightweight vehicle, but it's definitely a fun little car to drive. I would almost put it in a similar category as the Miata that you have here, just a newer version of that style type of vehicle. So it does have nice features in it. Some of these ones are going to have leather seats, but if you want a cheap, small two-door coupe that's just fun to whip around every day for under 15,
oh yeah,
this is a perfect vehicle. And a Subaru, you know, it's going to be reliable. So.
And what's weird is, or maybe it's not weird, but it's pretty cool, is this was a car between the BRZ and the Toyota 86, where Toyota and Subaru worked together. You actually look under the hood of those Toyotas, the 86s, and it actually has Subaru's name on the plastic engine cover. But I also
didn't know, but it makes sense.
Similar to Jacob, because he uses the Boxer engine, which is very long-founded Subaru. That's their thing. But I had the pleasure of driving that BRZ, the Subaru BRZ, and I actually got it to get the back end out a little bit and drift a little bit. It was not too crazy. It was just whipping it around a corner, and I got it to go. It's a lot of fun. Like what Jacob said, I think it has just a little over 200 horsepower, but that car, it's soaking wet. I think it might be 2,800 pounds.
Yeah. Super light.
I don't. Yeah, super light. No, more car puns. Yeah, definitely agree with you. I think that rolls into the same category as a Miata. And like you said, you can actually even get a newer one than that, like that Miata, and get it for a really good price if you're not worried about having leather interior.
Yeah. So then if we give you more money, Josh, another $4,000 for under 20, what are you picking? Yeah.
Man, I found the B8 generation Audi S4. This is another one like that Porsche. You're like, wait, that's crazy. Like that's a
doors and wheels and engine included, like everything, right?
Yep.
Okay.
This isn't like Joe Schmo selling to you down the street like this. Like, I got a deal for you. You know, this is a legit go to a dealership. Yeah, I found one that was for about 18 or 19, had between 50 to 60,000 miles on it. And why this one? So this is a generation like previous to the newest generation. So 2009 to 2016. And you're talking about a 3-liter supercharged V6. So
okay.
Hear the whine a little bit. I don't think they whine as loud as what the Dodge Demons sound like nowadays.
Oh gosh.
But still super cool. I think this is also a lot of heritage in Audi when it comes to just the A4 itself, the 4, throughout their history of making cars. So other than the history aspect, this is a super fun car. Still has 4 doors to put all your groceries and your book bags and everything in the back seat. But outside of that, still an awesome car. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. You find all these depreciated luxury vehicles and people are like, wait, are you sure that those numbers are right? So. which is how you come to your current vehicle. But
yeah,
so, different from you, I did not pick a luxury brand for my under 20, which if you know me, this is probably a very predictable move. So for under $20,000, I picked the 2011 through the 2014 generation of Mustang, which is the first generation of the new Coyote engine, the 5-liter. These, yeah, good Coyote there. But you can find these vehicles for around 50, 60,000 miles or under, for less than 20,000 with the new Coyotes and the new Mustang generations that have been coming out. That's what's been pushing these down in value here pretty recently. And you can find these in 6-speed manuals or automatic if manual is not your taste, but a coupe or convertible front engine V8 American muscle vehicle for under $20,000.
Rear wheel drive.
Rear wheel drive. To me, that is a bargain. 100%. Good thing I didn't see these a year ago when I was buying a truck, because I would probably be driving that right now.
Now, that's a super cool car. I've always wanted to have the Boss 302 from that time period, but obviously I've looked those up, and those are still sitting around $30,000. They're holding their value compared to depreciating values of other cars.
Yeah, but since it is a specialty edition Mustang and the Boss has such a heritage name to it, that's why. But with base model GTs, those don't hold value as well as if it was like a California Special or like a Boss 302, like you mentioned, that's different. But these are just like base GTs, maybe GT premiums with leather seats, depending on the mileage. But yeah, these ones are just the regular GTs that I'm talking about.
Now, all these cars we've talked about today, guys, are super fun. And this doesn't mean that those are the only ones that fit in those categories.
Yeah.
Do some research out there. I mean, I've even found some nicer BMWs from previous generations that aren't as expensive, or even Mercedes. I mean, a lot of those cars are like that. And like Jacob said, you can even find a Camaro Super Sport as a domestic. Still a cool car, has the wrong badge on it. Oops, I said it. But still really cool V8 inside of that under the hood. Super cool. Still get it in a manual transmission. But that's just another example. Like, there's a lot of fun to be had out there, but also we're not saying that these cars are necessarily reliable. We just know that they put out a lot of noises out of the exhaust pipes and get around those stop sign corners pretty nicely. So
these are our picks for fun vehicles that we would drive. Like Josh said, if it competes with that vehicle, if you find something like a 911 competitor, similar year, similar miles, that's probably for a similar price. And then same thing, you can find Camaros or probably even Hemi Challengers for around the same price in the same year.
Yeah.
These are just our picks of what we would pick. If you have something different that you would pick for those price ranges, let us know in the comments. Tell us what you're driving or what you would buy, so that way we can see what other ideas are floating around out there.
Oh, yeah.
So without further ado, Jacob and Josh signing off.